Hi, welcome everyone. This is Andrew Dailey from MGI Research, and welcome to our session, Practical Approaches to Digitizing Your Business. For the last, what has it been, 5 to 7+ years, we've been talking about digital transformation, bringing your business into the 21st century. There's a lot of different ways to classify it, but really it's about how do we take large established businesses and bring them into the fully digital era in terms of automating everything. And to talk about some very practical approaches to this, I'm joined by Howard Moore, who's the CEO and co-founder of Keste. Howard, welcome to the Monetize Forum.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. Great to join you. Looking forward to the Monetize Forum.
So for starters, let's just get a sense of the size and scope of the Keste business.
Yeah, Keste was founded in 2004. We're about 300 people here in the US and in India. And we're keenly focused on the area of automating complex selling and ordering, leading into, again, we say we've been focused on B2B digital business before we said digital business. That's the real vision of the company. To accomplish this, what we'll talk about over the next few minutes is how we support this with our multi-cloud capability, and helping companies to truly hit the vision of, as you said, complete automation of the business, which is to me synonymous with what digital business is all about.
Yeah. You guys work with a lot of large enterprises, as well as I mentioned, some very high growth businesses. What are some of in both those cases, what are some of the common monetization challenges that CFOs and CIOs in those companies face?
Yeah, definitely a lot of challenge. We got the whole, people process that you're faced with, but ultimately technology. What we recognized in 2004 when we founded the company, the technology was quickly evolving. You could tell where the world was headed. Companies have grown around ERPs, and now if you fast forward to today, it's really now kind of unbundled. We're dealing more with what we used to say a lot is a best of breed approach. So customers are dealing with their legacy software and technology, and they have definitely started adopting more of the cloud-based software and technology. Now, from a system and technology standpoint, it's okay. How do you make all this work together? It's a very interesting challenge, in building the foundation on now that data is everywhere. How do you pull that together with a good master data management approach? That's very, very critical. How do you make all this work together from an integration standpoint? And then how do you put the right user experience on top of all of this? That's sort of the kind of the 1, 2, 3 that companies are faced with. Traditionally, they're faced on, hey, making their ERPs work, which we know the usual suspects in that category. And so making this all work together versus maybe individual processes, which has really been the trick, doesn't really hit the mark anymore. It has to start adding up to and evolving to an agile monetization platform.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit more, which is for large organizations, they really have some unique challenges, and they've invested tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in their ERP systems, and now recognize that they're coming out with new business models. They're trying to address friction in the business. They want to change. And the question then is, where do you start? Do you start on the front end in that kind of user experience and around commerce? Do you dive into CPQ? Do you start with billing? What's the starting point for that journey?
Well, I'm going back to the whole .com, if you want to call it, era, when it started. A lot of companies were able to put together kind of this front end, looked good, but when you really lifted up the hood, wasn't very much behind it in terms of real capability. A lot of our customers, it's kind of funny, back in the day, we've got all our war stories, but we're known for being able to, again, automate complex selling and ordering for very complex custom products. And a lot of our customers say, hey, yeah, I want that Amazon experience. Well, back in the day, Amazon, they were just sort of selling books. And my comeback to them was like, hey, guys, you're not selling books. In our examples, you're selling turbo compressors, complex communications equipment. And it's very easy to go be an artist and draw pretty pictures, create pretty experiences on the front end. Where we saw the opportunity to truly differentiate is there's a front end, and people describe it as kind of a back end. Today, the vision that we're bringing to the market is more behind this is a digital operating platform that's completely necessary to enable those experiences. So you can start on the front end. That's important. You got the back end. And then even, I still like to use the term middle office. That's where we really, really make a difference, led by our capabilities around CPQ, configure, price, quote, to really put together a system that can take a great user experience, a mature back-end system / ERP, and then pull that together with CPQ, commerce, ultimately billing, which kind of adds up to kind of our whole approach around revenue and monetization.
Yeah, so Keste was one of the first systems integrators to have a dedicated CPQ practice. Speaking of CPQ, today, where do you see CPQ fit within kind of the broader effort to increase sales productivity, reduce or shrink the amount of time that it takes to generate a quote, and then really, as you were just describing, kind of optimize the organization's ability to monetize? Where's CPQ in that picture?
Yeah. When we started the company, we didn't say digital business. We said things like guided selling. So we thought of these as sort of these experiences. Somebody logs into their computer and brings up the solution to go in and order or sell a complex custom product. That's all changed. This could be a very random event in terms of getting the attention of the end buyer. If you're walking around with smartphones like we all do now, CPQ can really accomplish this, I would say, more in a real-time context versus these sort of singular standalone events. So when you have the customer potential buyer's attention, the ability to, in real time, serve up actually what they really want to purchase. That's really what a guided selling experience is about, is ultimately serving up what really meets their requirements or their needs. And this concept of monetization is, again, synonymous with real time. Without this, an engine that can really start building what the customer really needs, you're really, really handicapped. You're missing the opportunity, and you're really not even in the game.
You guys have done a lot of work actually helping large, complex businesses kind of deconstruct their agreements and digitize those in a way that sales reps can create customized offers, but do it in a scalable way, which is the real trick, right? Describe a little bit about the work that you've done with some of your clients in terms of helping them take those complicated agreements that were built up over many years and really start to digitize that and serve up that data across the organization, across the different systems that need to consume that information.
Yeah. No, that to me is the key to success on any solution that we're describing today. every customer, it's complex, especially in the B2B environment. Every customer has their own contracts, which implies many times their very unique pricing for that particular partner, reseller, or customer. So for our customers to really be able to automate these pricing agreements is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, there's no automation. Again, we're trying to take the friction out of everything, the human element, to be able to bring this into play is critical. At the highest level, to accomplish this, you've got to bring in this product knowledge, product information. Certainly, pricing is a part of that overall body of information that has to be transformed in such a way that you can automate. I think that's where so many of these solutions and approaches fall short, is it's transforming that information so that you can automate and operate in this more real-time context that we're talking about. It's a complete requirement. And then the other part is, again, this is real-time. Pricing can change every minute in certain, so we're seeing it today. So without the ability to have these real-time updates and inject that into the entire solution and process, again, it completely compromises the situation.
You mentioned this notion of a digital business hub, and you also mentioned the need for a real focus on a core data model. In the past, we bought an ERP system that came with a data model, and that kind of was the digital hub, so to speak.
Right.
How do you go into a company today and say, let's look at the core architecture and identify what the core data model objects are as the foundation? Kind of where do you guys start with a client in that process in terms of trying to decomponentize, if you will,
that's right,
these systems?
Yeah. And again, it all starts with now, there's not a system. The dream of one software package, one ERP to serve all the needs of a enterprise size business was never realistic. So now as we said, this has now started to incorporate best of breed applications. And again, you could have, we've got customers that might have software from 20 different software companies that we incorporate into one comprehensive solution. But you start with simple concepts. There's nothing new here. You got concepts of single source of truth. Making sure there's real-time integration. That's absolutely critical. And really building that foundation so that companies can manage the data. Then you get into other issues of sure, we can bring in the right master data management approach, leveraging simple concepts, single source of truth. But ultimately, the other challenge we're faced with is how do you pull all this together and have the pleasing user experience? Performance is always a challenge. Just dealing with that situation this morning with a customer, and how when the applications, the information is spread all over the place, how do you literally engineer this so that you get the performance that is going to meet and delight a customer?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the issue of change management as well. What do you guys, when projects go off the rails, what typically is the source of that, and how do you remediate that?
Well, I think it's the basics. I think I always go back to making sure companies are really ready for this transformation and the evolution that has to occur. We all know with COVID, and we'll probably talk a little bit about this in a moment, but COVID's changed everything. In fact, it's accelerated the need to be completely digital and automated. So going back to it says, the customer needs to be in a state of readiness and maturity to really take on these projects. I think everybody thought, oh, cloud's going to make everything easy. I mean, I kind of laugh. I mean, 5 years ago, I think it was another easy button. At the end of the day, there's a lot of goodness around cloud-based approaches and solutions. But now, again, you kind of have this sprawl that I've been describing since we started the conversation here. There's a lot of sprawl, and it's actually made these projects in a lot of ways much harder, much more difficult in terms of how do you, again, put all this together into one cohesive system. So we need, to really assess customer maturity. The other part is really line that up with, the CFO. More and more, I see so much frustration with CFOs. They know they need this digital operating platform to really help transform their business. Again, we all know the mega trend. How do you go from a business that selling physical product to now selling services, or really making that transformation from physical to digital? There's a massive gap there. The CFOs know where they need to be. They know the consequences. And again, you know all the problems that bubble up. That's great to be real time. If you accomplish that, then you get in all the downstream issues like revenue recognition, things like that. CFOs are completely challenged. We're getting more and more audiences with the CFOs and they're placing their confidence that we can actually build this back office. Now we're saying digital operating platform that helps them move from this physical product world to more the digital services world. That they have to make it happen, or they're not going to be relevant.
Yeah, that's right. And certainly we're seeing more and more CFOs are really that's the place that's really making it happen in the organization.
Yeah.
Going back to your point on COVID, Keste partnered with Trinity Hunt Partners last year, which is a Dallas-based private equity firm. You got a deal done. You brought on an equity partner really in the beginning of a global pandemic. There's a lot there to unpack. But first, just as a founder, CEO, finding a major equity partner is not an event that you take lightly. I'm sure it took you some considerable time to think through what you were looking for and what you wanted. What went into your decision? How did you land with Trinity Hunt? Why was that the choice versus the other options? Because you guys had a lot of options. Why do you feel like that was the right one for Keste?
Yeah, it's a very good question. We've been very fortunate, myself and Sri Ipe and the president and CTO of the company, the other co-founder, been approached routinely over the last, for sure, 8 years. We very proud of what we put together, very focused. The original vision of what we is maintained today. I'd say I don't claim to be right very often, but Sri and I knew we had a great idea that we're going to jump on this train of complete automation of a business, very keenly focused on, again, I describe it as complex selling and ordering. There's a lot of ways to describe it. But it's very important that, as we constructed the company, I mean, a great team, smartest people I've ever worked with, and I know that'll always be true. We've carefully crafted and constructed a company that's really in the right place, the right time to help companies make this evolution to digital business. And what's really exciting is Trinity Hunt, turns out, is based in Dallas. We knew about each other for a few years, but as soon as we met face to face, it was, I always feel a little sappy saying this, but it was kind of serendipity. They have a great track record. They understand the opportunity in this space, and they're looking for the right leadership, and ultimately the right team to bring on as the first acquisition in this as the platform to really really build out the whole vision of this digital operating platform. Again, the other part is I just got to really compliment them. They're looking for operators. They also describe them as it's patient in investment and funding, which will allow us to stay on this trajectory. But I would say on the other side, what Sheree and I knew had to happen, we needed fuel, outside capital to take advantage of what we've been describing the last few minutes. The time is now. Sheree and I are not going to miss the opportunity. We knew it was coming. It's here, and the opportunity is really endless. So it's a great partnership, and now we brought on Chip Register, CEO of the company. We've already accomplished our first acquisition with the third and fourth to come. It all adds up to this is going to be great for our customers. We can bring more capability and deeper capabilities. It's great for our employees. They now have an opportunity. It's the next chapter in the story, and our goal is we'll certainly be a $250 million company in the next probably 3 to 4 years. So it checks a lot of boxes, and I could not be more pleased.
Yeah, well, congratulations. It's a huge validation of your strategy and also the team that you have and your client base, because ultimately there's a firm that's going to put, as you mentioned, $200 million of growth capital into this, and to get them to really buy in and believe shows that it's not just you guys seeing this, not just your customers, but professional money as well. So congrats on getting that done.
Right.
I want to thank, we're out of time here, but Howard Moore, CEO of Keste, thank you very much. We have another session with Chip Register of Argano Keste here at the Monetize Forum. I'd encourage everyone to check out the Keste booth and the platform. Howard, I know you're going to be around for the networking. Yep. So feel free to reach out. Great resource. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of the forum.
Hey, thank you, Andrew.